What's up, y'all? It's Calvin here, and I want to holler at you guys about the procedures for isolation and quarantine. And for the purposes of this video, I'll be going over Washington State and a little bit of Oregon. All right, but I will leave a link below that has a website that has each state listed with their websites for these same documentation. So to get right to it, we have Washington's procedure for isolation and quarantine, and you see it says here, at his or her sole discretion, a local health officer may issue an emergency detention order causing a person or group of persons to be immediately detained for purposes of isolation or quarantine in accordance with subsection 3. And we will be taking a look at subsection 3. But before I get to that, though, keep in mind that it says persons or group of persons. And with the society that we live in, with all the labeling and stuff like that, there is a group of people or persons called the unvaxxed. You know what I'm saying? So that is very interesting that they worded it that way, persons or group of persons, because labeling things as groups, that could open up the door to a whole lot of stuff. You could be amongst a group of people at a certain outing or a concert or like whatever, and have that whole situation quarantined or like whatever, as well as you know, a socially labeled group like a right winger, you know what I'm saying, a fundamentalist Christian, Hebrew Israelite, a truther, conspiracy theorist, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like this just leaves the door wide open. Anyways, moving on to number 2, it says a local health officer may invoke the powers of police officers, sheriffs, constables, and all other officers and employees of any political subdivision within the jurisdiction of the health department to enforce immediately orders given to effectuate the purposes of this section in accordance with the provisions, and so on and so forth. All right, so with number 2, you can clearly see that this thing's got some teeth on it, and it's no different for Oregon. Both of these things are very similar. There's a few differences with Oregon though, and we will get into that in just a moment. But for now, we're gonna move on to subsection 3, and if you see here, it says, if a local health officer orders the immediate involuntary detention of a person or group of persons for purposes of isolation or quarantine, the emergency detention order should be for a period not to exceed 10 days. All right. And you'll see in a moment that they've got a catchphrase to where it'll let them keep you for a little bit longer than that. Then if you take a look at B, it says the local health officer shall issue a written emergency detention order as soon as reasonably possible in all cases within 12 hours of detention that shall specify the following. And it goes on to say a few things, but I'm just going to touch on a few of them. And if you look at number 3, it says the date and time at which isolation or quarantine commences, and this leaves the door wide open for them to kind of keep you a little bit longer than 12 hours, and this is just 12 hours before they let you know why you're there. All right, that doesn't begin the 10 days. All right, and if you look at number 4, it says that they would have to specify the following. All right, and then it says the suspected communicable disease or infectious agent if known. So they don't have to have a real disease to show for just to have you locked up during this time, okay? They can just say that they don't know and come and get you and keep you for at least 12 hours before they let you know what's going on. And you'll see in just a moment that they can file a motion with the court up under number 5 here, and it says a local health officer may petition a superior court for an order authorizing the continued isolation or quarantine of a person or group detained under subsections 3 or 4 of this section for a period of up to 30 days. All right, and this is where it's a little different for Oregon, because with Oregon, they can keep you for up to 180 days. All right, so that's 6 freaking months that they can just basically lock you up. Okay, and another situation that was kind of highlighted in the legislation for Oregon is that they can seize buildings like a house, hospitals, you know what I'm saying, pretty much wherever they want to. But if they went to take over somebody's house to use it for a basically a makeshift hospital, it's written in there that they would have to compensate you. But nonetheless, it gives them power to take over your house if that's what they choose to do, or a hospital or a prison or whatever is in their jurisdiction. We should all keep our imaginations wide open when it comes to that. And when it comes to these things, like, it makes more sense that you see like National Guard being sent to hospitals, when it seems like it will make more sense for them to send medicine and people who knew the medical field, like nurses, stuff like that, you know, sending vitamins, minerals, those types of things. But no, they will send trained warriors to these sites, and it's for situations like this. And if you scroll down to the bottom, this is what's really crazy about the whole situation, is that this was filed February 13th, 2003. And before 2003, they had something similar to this that was written of in place, and they've just continued to update this. And it's been the same way for every state. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much each country, like, these things have always been in place. So I'm not bringing this out for shock value. This is just to make you aware, because we're in the time where these things could very feasibly apply. This has been in place. So not trying to bring shock and awe, or, you know, trying to put any more urgency on these documents than there already should have been. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing it back in 2013 or 3 should have had people with the mindset to get prepared and be as self-sufficient as possible, to, you know, be able to exist without the system, so you won't, you know, be amongst the people that could get snatched up for 180 days for people that live in Oregon, and, you know, for Washington, at least 30 days. You know what I mean? But something that could help us out in being able to be successful during these times is just keep it simple: food, clothing, and shelter. You know what I'm saying? And try to provide those things for yourself with your own hands as much as possible. That's why I encourage people to grow their food. You know what I'm saying? Like, have something in those areas going on, because if you disagree with how the system and the government is moving, you're gonna have to be able to do these things, because there's not gonna be a place for you. The COVID-19 measures are increasingly getting more austere by the day, and we are seeing this play out worldwide, how things are going in Australia. And so in times like these, you know, being self-sufficient would just allow you to simply stay out of the way, you know what I'm saying? And for an extended period of time, if need be, you know, like, I would recommend a goal for everyone as far as food is to have at least 3 months of food stored up, you know what I'm saying? And it can be in a lot of different ways. You can have, you know, canned this, you can have Mylar bags, you know, stuff that's frozen, you know what I mean? Like, it all has its place, but, you know, have something in place where you're going to be able to make it for the long haul. And 3 months is a pretty good starting point, because, like, generally speaking, most things that we run into are not going to last more than 3 months. And within 3 months, if you have the wherewithal to give yourself 3 months worth of food, you'll probably figure something out in those 3 months, because that's the whole thing. You are giving yourself time to think. You know what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. You're not out here half-cocked making desperate decisions. You are sitting back, you know what I'm saying, and moving in a more defensive posture. All right? And that's what's going to be needed during this time. You know, people who've got their heads screwed on straight, you know what I'm saying? Because with all of the trigger pulling with the media and stuff like that, to get people up in arms with their emotions, and then on top of that, you add the austere measures, you know what I'm saying? A person who does not have their feet grounded, they're going to get sucked right into the madness. You know what I mean? So It's just something to keep in mind with all of this stuff that is going on. The governments and these corporations, they need us to participate in this stuff. You know what I mean? That's why Macron said what he said. You know what I mean? Trying to get people all riled up, saying that he's going to purposely do things to piss off the unvaccinated. And, you know, he got a response. Probably not the one that they were expecting, because they came out like 6 figures deep. So that like makes a difference, because the police can't really do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? You would literally have to call in the military to calm a crowd that big down. And, you know, that's what it takes, you know what I'm saying, for people to show up in like big numbers and to address specific politics, you know what I'm saying? And let the people in power know that that ain't gonna go. But please understand that they are not gonna stop. They're gonna continue pushing the line. And I expect the French government to have the same response that the American government had after the January 6th riots, is that they had a perimeter that was blocked off like 6 or 8 blocks out, you know what I'm saying, with National Guard and soldiers. And during the time period that the barricades were up and the military presence was there surrounding the Capitol building, Joe Biden was signing all kind of executive orders, you know what I'm saying, in total comfort behind block after block after block of military and all types of protection, when normally he wouldn't have that type of protection. These are things that we need to think about, you know what I'm saying, and examine as far as our history as it unfolds, you know what I'm saying. Like, we're going to have to start learning a whole lot faster, or else they're just going to keep pulling the same games on us, you know what I'm saying. And it's just going to get worse as far as the outcome goes with each step, you know what I'm saying. And with each step of the way, they need us to participate. This is why I often speak against going out to protest and do things like that, because it only gives the government provocation to show force. But France handled that, you know what I'm saying, the right way. I was scared they were just going to go out and act a fool and like protest like that, but they didn't. They came deep and they handled themselves very well. But at any rate, getting back on topic though, take the time to, you know, just do some things that would keep you out in public less. Okay, it's never going to be perfect. You're never not going to ever not be able to leave the house or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not asking you to look at life that way, to live in fear, but to move with wisdom. Because at any moment you could be at a Walmart, at a whatever. And, you know what I'm saying? If they so wanted to quarantine it, you know what I mean? Like, just like that, you could be gone for 6 months. You know what I mean? Just like locked up. And speaking of being locked up, I highly encourage you guys to check out your state's legislature when it comes to this stuff. Because if you do find yourself in that situation, you are going to be a whole lot calmer, and you are going to know what to expect. Immediately once you've been detained, you will know to look at see what time it is, so that way you know that they can't keep you longer than 12 hours, so on and so forth. It'll put you on a whole nother playing field when being in that situation, as well as with the legislation. It has stuff in there that you can do to like fight the system, appeal the detainment, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So read that, learn your rights, so that way you won't be in a panic, you know what I'm saying. And it'll also make you an asset to the people around you in that type of situation, and that will cause a whole lot less panic and nonsense, and that is so valuable. And I can't tell you how much of a difference that makes, being former military and also running the streets and being in some tight situations. Somebody that knows what they're doing and has a harmonious spirit, man, it like makes all the difference, you know what I'm saying. So I strive to be that person, and I encourage you guys to be that person as well, because you never know, you know what I'm saying, it could, you know what I'm saying, save lives. It is a interesting dynamic to be in, you know what I'm saying, a very interesting time to be in. So I encourage you guys to check the link below, to check your state to see what your provisions are. It could be jacked up like Oregon, or it might not be that bad like Washington. There's only one way to find out. See what you're up against and start to plan accordingly to try to keep yourself off the radar. Like for instance, instead of going inside the grocery store to grocery shop, you might want to do grocery pickup now. So as always, I hope this resonates with you guys and gives you food for thought. This is the Pod Roast.
Here come the hot stepper. Here come the spiritual warrior. Excuse me, good people, I still love you like that. Hey.